This video is sponsored by Gate.io. If you set an account up using the link in the description, you'll get 25% back on all your spot and futures fees for life. Gate.io. Hello everybody, welcome back. So we're a little quieter today because my daughter's sleeping. She's got chicken pox. This is like day 3 or 4 now, so she's been doing pretty well in all fairness, but last night it got real. So she's been up, she's sleeping now, so I'm going to try and whisper this live stream, this video out to you today. So try and listen to the enthusiasm in my voice. I won't be able to knock it up a few decibels. You'll just have to turn up the volume. But basically, I don't see a problem with what we see right now. We said yesterday we're going to watch and wait and see how the market reacts to whatever the Fed are going to do. The market effectively priced in that 25 basis points. That's what the Fed gave us, and the market responded accordingly, which was buy the rumor, sell the news, which was effectively the theme of the Patreon live stream on Tuesday. So now we've got that, whether the dust can now settle, and let's have a look at traditional markets to begin with, right? So first of all, we've got this, and we've broken out of this descending channel, which is usually a bullish sign. To be honest with you, it's a bullish sign. A retest more or less of that death cross over here. That's neither here nor there for the moment. Still reasonable momentum brewing on here. This is just the futures, so this is obviously active at the moment. I'd be looking for a retest of just short of 4,000. Reclaiming exactly, we can call it 3,900 really, 3,980, 3,980, what's wrong with me? Reclaiming that on the 4-hourly should then start to move back up in a more of a continuous constructive fashion. Recognize that this was a Fed announcement, not just a random dump. Now, let me tell you, before we go any further, there is a lot of people talking about huge crash coming. 2008, but worse. That is almost certainly not going to be the case. I know that gets views and gets people excited or scared, and that's what sells. Emotions sell, don't they? I mean, this is YouTube at the end of the day. People want to, they want to be watched, they want to be clicked on. They're going to sell you some kind of fear or dream, but realistically, it's neither here nor there, right? The charts, this chart specifically, the S&P, has given us the greatest trading range I can remember ever seeing. It's been the neatest, tidiest trading a tradable chart that we've ever seen. I mean, look, there's your lovely descending triangle, top, top, top. We were able to play this on the Everything Bounce Part 1, Everything Bounce Part 2, getting in at the bottom and out at the top, in at the bottom and out at the top. This is not what you would expect to see from something that is going to suddenly just crash into the abyss. But I do appreciate that people are going to talk about that because they want to get some clicks, all right? They want to get it clicked, just this clickbait, basically. The Fed and the ECB and all central banks will not allow for that sort of thing to happen. And recognize what all this is about. This is inflation high, and this is very much a bear market that has been orchestrated by the central bank, whether it be to stimulate the economy after the last major crash, which again happened for something that was outside of the charts. This is what the Fed's job is: stimulate the economy as and when. And now they're pulling the funds out of the market. Recognize that the pre-pandemic high was over here. We still haven't met that low. The Fed has done their job as far as this chart is concerned. It's worked perfectly fine. We would have trended up, and even if we were to just think about no COVID whatsoever to where we are right now, we would still be up a 16% move over that period from the pre-pandemic high. That's not massive gains, obviously, but the most important thing to recognize is it's not losses. It's not losses. All losses were recouped and made new highs, and even now, even down to this level down here, it was still not made a new low previous to the pre-pandemic top. Right, so the Fed has done their job. They are doing their job. They continue to do their job, and they will not allow for stocks, banks, or anything to completely demolish and crash and burn. That's not their intention. That is the opposite of their intention. All right, so just stand back and think about that. I know it's easy to go down rabbit holes on YouTube and just in general, but they are doing their job, and this chart clearly says that they are doing their job just fine, really, just fine. Right, so that is your S&P. That's a bit of an overview of that. Euro, really having a good time now. So it's finally broken out significantly from that daily range. And to be honest with you, it looks like it wants more. It wants more, man. It wants more. I'd be very surprised to see it come back down below these lows again for a while. So 107.3 Pump City FM. So it's broken the range. It's looking good. No pump signal on this daily, not yet, but just exactly as expected. Like all these charts. Remember, I mean, this is going to annoy people because it is a setup that we've had on this channel since January. We said that the euro is breaking bullish. We said around these areas that it's going to pull back to the 200 exponential, where we could look at longing it. We longed it once, we longed it twice, we longed it thrice. And now what's happening? Excuse me. Yet again, another V-shaped recovery from the 200 exponential, where you would normally expect to see it after a golden cross. Absolutely. It's exactly the same. It's the same as I've always said. It's the same we said before we got the golden cross. It's the same thing we said after the golden cross, that we're going to come and retest it, and then we're going to go back up and make new highs. So it looks as though that's all been complemented by the 25 basis point. So we're going to get a weaker dollar now, probably for a long time. And so if the ECB are going to have any kind of credibility, they're going to continue with their 50 basis points regardless of what it does to their banks. Again, we'll have to see what they do. But as far as this chart is concerned, it has worked exactly as expected. Like all the other charts have worked exactly as expected. Look, it's trading 101. It's not. These setups are not rocket science. If you remember the Patreon, you'd see these setups all the time. We talk about these ones. They are basically the more obvious setups for a decent run, whether it's a bullish or a bearish retest of a death or a golden cross. So we got that here on the euro. Exactly as expected. So I'm sorry about that, guys, but it just is. Dominance chart still curling down, moving down. This is just your 4 hourly, but it is moving down. And again, golden cross, we'd be looking for a retest of that potentially. This isn't a chart to be traded with the same science as something like the euro, which is heavily traded upon its own individual chart. But this does look like it's doing what I expect it to do, which is to start to pull back now. And we couple that with the total market cap 3, which again, currently is up just over 1.5%. It's exactly as expected. This alt season, like I say, we've got to give it up to 3 weeks to start to play, and if it hasn't played or started to play within a 3-week period, then yeah, I'll hold my hands up and say that was a failed setup. But for the moment, everything is still exactly the same. People will, I don't know how long you subscribe to the channel. You should think about subscribing, but people would most likely remember that back in January, we were expecting this all the way up. We're expecting it before we reached the top. We said this is going to be the trajectory: up, down, up. Yeah, we were saying that since, I remember saying it around Christmas and thereafter. So this has been a setup that's been in my mind's eye for such a long period of time. But this is because I trade based on dailies, right? That is the annoying thing that Noob Master and the trolls don't seem to recognize, is that when you're charting things on a daily, they do take a while to play. This has been a setup that's been going on for 3 months now, basically. It's 3 months worth of setup, and it's worked out just as absolutely as expected. It's not because I've got a crystal ball, it's because I've been trading these charts for a long period of time, and there is rhythm to especially things like the euro, especially when the ECB say they're going to do something and the Fed say they're going to do something that complements the setup in the first place. So again, there, and obviously the S&P all looking quite good. So now let's quickly look at Bitcoin. For what it's worth, we'll have a look at Bitcoin. Currently down just below 2% from yesterday. That is not a crippling blow for Bitcoin. It's absolutely not. In fact, you can see how bullish it is because we're way above all these major moving averages. We haven't even tested them. This area down here that we wicked into was a CME gap. Not that I trade those sort of things, but that used to be the cool thing to talk about before the Fed. Now everyone's talking about Fed and blah 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 blah. CPI, inflation, Fed. That's the thing to trade now. But before all of that was a thing, it was always about the CME gaps. Oh, the CME gap will get filled. It has to get filled. They always get filled. CME. Blah, 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 blah. All right, fair enough. CME gaps, yeah, they do often get filled, but they don't always get filled. So you're probably blissfully unaware that there is a CME gap below 4,000. So let's just stand back and admire that. So let's just think about what we see right now. We see a chart which is trending above all major moving averages with the money flow index, which is not significantly overheated on this daily right now. We've got a golden cross back down here. We've got an Ichimoku conversion baseline cross above the cloud, Price action above the cloud, cheeky span above price. That is a trend signal. This trend will only come to an end when this cow touches price action, wherever that happens, or this blue crosses this red, and that will be the trend finished. As far as this is concerned, the trend still exists, and it's going to keep making new highs. That's what this chart says. So if that's what the chart says, what should we expect the price action to do? Do exactly as expected. Like the V-shaped recovery happened on this and all these other charts, just doing exactly as expected. Again, I know it's tempting to talk about huge collapses and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But, I trade charts. I don't trade sentiment. I trade charts. I don't trade FUD. I don't trade hype. I trade charts. And the chart looks like a good chart to me, which is going to continue to make new highs. So back up to 28, which was the next target that we had, which obviously got met exactly. And the next one is going to be up here around 32. So that's where we're going to be going to next. And I don't see any reason to doubt that that is where we're going to go next. However, if we do start to close below these moving averages, the first one being this 10 exponential, then I think it's more likely that we will start to see more of a pullback. Rather a consolidation that would be due at that stage. Now, if we think about the RSI here, there is very subtle, but it is there, bearish divergence. It's not enough for me to consider a pullback or a drop at this exact level. I'd want to see a new high with a more significant drive of bearish divergence form, and we don't have that. So yeah, I'm just basically looking for new highs, just like I was before, really. 3-day above this 200 exponential, looking really good, and we've got a pump signal that's generated back at 25,300 on 3-day. That's yet to play out, in my opinion. That's still yet to play out. It's a decent support that we've got on here. So the next target is up to 32. To be honest, it definitely is. There is on the 3-day actual bearish divergence. But again, that could play as our next major top, and the next major top I think could be considered to be that 32. Yeah, 32. The next one above that would be 38. That's quite a lot higher than where we are at right now, and I think at that point we probably would be looking for being overextended. But even if we do pull back from 32, where are we going to go down to? Are we going to go down into the teens? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it's very unlikely, especially with the stimulus that is going to come from central banks, whether that's from kind words or sweet-smelling farts or lowering of rates or whatever. I think it's unlikely that we'll see catastrophic dumping back down to new lows. And some people still say on my channel, this is a bear market, this is not a bull market. Well, I'm sorry to say, we more or less caught the bottom. We caught it all the way up. We've made significant trades on not just Bitcoin and crypto, but every single chart really that we look at, we've called it fine. If it's not a bull market, it's definitely a upwards trending market, which has been very lucrative for those of us who have played these charts. So I'm still in favor of this to move up to 32. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen by the time your mother has brought your breakfast into your basement for you. It will probably still take a few weeks. And as far as the dominance chart is concerned and the total market cap 3 is concerned, the alt season is still pending. And so if you're not scaling in, or if you haven't scaled in, then these dips right now are a reasonably decent area to think about scaling in. Again, I've already scaled in myself, but this is just an example of one of the last coins that we saw on the Patreon stream on Tuesday. A 3-day test of the 200 simple. We've got a 1-day test of the 200 exponential. These are all golden cross setups, decent setups on something like Ocean, for instance. So I'm not highlighting this as something you should definitely buy. You should do whatever you want. But these charts are all working. You know what I mean? They're not broken charts. They're working. And they're very much in keeping with a bullish market, whether you want to call it a bull market or just call it a bullish market. It's all very sweet smelling stuff. And I'm more than happy to play these charts, and all charts that would be, from Bitcoin to altcoins to gold to Forex to stocks. We're playing them all, and they're all working. They're not broken. They're working charts. They're respecting moving averages. They're respecting setups, and they are bringing home the bacon. Right, I'm going to leave it with you there. I've got to make sure my daughter's okay. But anyway, I hope you all have a nice day. feel free to leave me some nice comments on for the algorithm. And if you've not subscribed, you might as well subscribe. Like I say, this channel is it's something I do for love rather than money. But it's nice to it would be very nice for me to receive 20,000 subs at some point soon. I've been dancing around this exact level for so long now. I just want to make it to that level just for a nice psychological boost. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.